So Elon Musk, the owner of SpaceX, most notably Tesla though, and also the new owner of Twitter, why did he buy that? Recently went on the BBC for an interview, and the interviewer tried to interrogate him about the hateful speech that's apparently on Twitter, a lot of hateful race speech. And apparently he didn't come prepared and didn't realize Elon's a super genius like Megamind, and Elon took him to the woodshed. And here's some highlights of that interview.
Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't need. Honestly, I
you
don't.
Can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why, because I don't actually.
It was at this moment he realized he fucked up.
To use that for you feed anymore because I just don't particularly like it.
You
actually, a lot of people are quite similar. I only look at my following.
You said you've seen more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and
Well, then how did you see the hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen that you hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
You can't give a single one.
And I'm saying
I say so that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet, and yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well,
that's false.
Get this straight, you're a professional reporter, you're going into an interview and you have no examples or facts. Don't you fact check shit? Don't you cite your sources against super genius, billionaire, he's basically Tony Stark in real life, and you think you're gonna outsmart this dude just by throwing out random shit? You're just gonna accuse him and you're gonna think he's just gonna roll over and shit? Okay, oh my goodness. I guess reporting isn't, taught very well these days. I guess credentials don't mean shit. I guess they'll just let anybody go on BBC and just interview people and whatnot. BBC has a history, too, of doing this. They tried to do Andrew Tate dirty. They brought him on there and they tried to accuse him of all this stuff. They didn't have anything to back it up with. And Andrew Tate made that interviewer look like dog shit, too, or whatnot. Like 10 years ago, they brought a guy on who wasn't even, he was just interviewing for another job and they thought he was somebody else. It was like a mistaken identity thing and they put him on the air apparently and did this shit. I'm not joking with this shit. The man asked for one example of hateful speech, and you couldn't get one. You couldn't think of one. Hell, anybody who played Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 waiting in the lobbies heard horrible, horrible stuff from 9-year-olds that were like probably way worse than anything you find on Twitter or whatnot. This sounds like an agenda. This sounds like the left Illuminati trying to make Elon look bad or whatnot. Because Twitter was one-sided for a while. People were getting kicked off Twitter for just stating opinions about certain vaxes. Let's just say that. Certain shots, certain illnesses that happened over the last 3 years or whatnot. And they were just siding with that shit. But anybody like Joe Rogan or anybody, they try to make Joe Rogan look horrible. They try to make all these people that spoke out against it or whatnot, doing alternative things, alternative meds or whatnot. Twitter was kind of shitty back in the day. And apparently most of the jobs at Twitter were just you didn't need to have most of those people working there or whatnot. Just because you're British shit doesn't mean you're smarter than everyone else, all right? Just because you speak the Queen's English. Bloody hell. Elon took you to the Louvre, bent you over, and did unspeakable things to you, kind sir. Oh my goodness. For the Queen and country, James Bond, I'm sorry. Just because you British and that accent sounds fucking proper as fuck and shit doesn't mean you're smarter than everybody else. And clearly you were not smarter than South African-born Elon Musk, super genius, freaking Tony Stark, Iron Man. That's horrible. And like I said, they have examples. They have so many interviews where they go in there with their pompous attitudes because I work for the BBC, and they end up looking like idiots. Go back and just look through the history of the BBC. Damn, man, get off your fucking high horse. This shit is crazy. So yeah, apparently like a decade ago, a guy went in to interview for the IT department, and they put him on the air for an interview thinking he was somebody else. How do you do that? How do you do that? The man's not Clayface. He's not Mystique. He's not a shapeshifter. You don't do background checks. You don't ask questions and shit. Dude, the guy that you had on 10 years ago that was supposed to be on there, did Ricky Gervais cancel last second if you had to fill the spot or whatnot? They put a rando dude on the BBC to interview thinking he was somebody else. You think he was some African warlord and shit? Just Lord of War, the dude with the gold AK-47, you thought it was him and shit? Get out of my country. Get this man a shield. Look at my face. Like, I mean, BBC, man. I mean, wow. It's just, Elon, congratulations on making them look like complete fools. I mean, Elon's the GOAT. And yeah, that's it. Jesus.